Good afternoon. Once again, we're in the Horns Venue pub in Watford. We're privileged to have Nigel Glockler from Saxon with us today.
Hello.
He's going to tell us a bit about Mad, Bad and Dangerous, the book of drummers' tales, and his involvement with that. Firstly, welcome, Nigel. Thanks for coming. There was a moment back in the 1980s, I believe, when you were with Saxon playing in Milan. And this reflects some of the bits in the book where we talk about a drummer's experiences on stage and what sometimes we might have to go through to get through it all. Tell us a bit about that. There was a bit of a build-up, wasn't there?
Yeah, we were coming through the pass from Switzerland.
Yeah.
And it had been snowing really heavily, and basically, to cut a long story short, we got to the gig in Milan, which was a sold-out 9,000 seater, I think it was. We got there late. The Italian police had let the fans in early because they didn't want to have to try and contain them outside. So they'd been in there since 3 o'clock.
Yeah, having a good time, I imagine.
Yeah, I think. But they thought they were going to riot if they didn't let them in. So I think we got there about 11 o'clock at night.
Yeah. Eventually,
none of our gear got there, and.
Because you had two Arctics, didn't you? One with the back line and your personal
and
stuff,
one with the PA.
Yeah, lights.
Actually, I think the PA one got there, but our personal gear didn't get there, so we had to use the support band's gear, all of it. I seem to remember someone pulling a gun on us because we wanted to pull the gig. The gun was pulled. And so we went on, and I mean, they were just going nuts, and we had a curtain in the front and stuff was coming over. I think not aimed at us, but specifically. But stuff was coming over the top, and it was coins and all sorts of flying. And it was my first ever gig in Italy, and I was scared shitless, And I actually said to Biff, I said, if one more thing bloody hits me, I'm walking off. And at that minute, a bloody full beer can came over, hit me smack in the side of the head.
And then the curtain
drew blood, and the bloody curtain opened, and we started, and it was too late then. So,
so you're playing with blood pouring down your
face. Blood
came
down, and something really sharp went hurtling across one of the floor tom heads and split it.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the hell that was.
But the crowd.
But then they went nuts.
But they loved it.
Yeah, they loved it.
So it was worth all
that. For me, I'm shitting bricks, but they loved it. Yeah.
There's been quite a few. Themes running through this book. One of them being our drummers a little bit mad.
Never.
Sanest members of the band.
Yes.
What's your take on that, you reckon?
I mean, drumming's probably the first thing that prehistoric man ever did. Yeah, there weren't guitars around, were there? So
they communicated with them.
Hitting a log.
Yeah.
And I think it's just the most natural primeval thing you can do. I think it's just inbuilt in human beings.
So it is a natural
I think it is. You watch any kid wants to hit something.
Yeah, and if anybody who ever goes near a drum kit can't resist wanting to hit it, even if they can't play at all, they just have to have a go. Can I sit behind it? Can I have a go?
Yeah, sure.
So if it's that natural and that instinctive, then it must be to do with sanity, not insanity, presumably.
Yeah, I think so. But you do get the odd mad one.
Yeah, I mean, there's all sorts of stories, aren't there, about various people? I mean, Mr. Moon, etc. Some of his madness was something to do with drums, though. It was a lot of that, which we look at in the book a little bit, is to do with his eccentricity as a person.
Yes,
and sometimes his extreme kindness as well, which is almost to the point of madness. But what do you reckon is the worst time you've ever had to play when you were actually ill or physically incapacitated?
I got
injury.
It was an American tour. Actually, I got pneumonia. Usually we go out on tour and I take all the medicines out with me. And as soon as I feel, oh, hang on, I'm getting a cold or something, dose myself up, and usually that does the job. But a good sweat and I'm fine the next day. Yeah. But this just kept going on for probably about a week or so, and I thought something's not right here. Yeah. And then one day I just woke up and I thought I could hardly move. And I said to the guys, we were touring with Cheap Trick actually, and I said to the tour manager, I said, I've got to go to a hospital because I can hardly move. So we went down there, and the doctor down there said, you've got pneumonia. And I was like, yeah, but I've got a gig tonight. And he said, no, you haven't. I said, I have. Can you just give me something to get through the gig? He'd dose me up. I was wheelchaired onto the stage. Yeah. I wore an oxygen mask. and literally all I could do was just play. There were no drum fills, nothing.
No,
I just didn't have any energy at all.
Just keep the basic beat.
And so didn't miss a single gig. And I
And
had
what
this
did
for
the
about a
management
week.
feel about that? And did they think that perhaps they were putting themselves on the line? Because if you collapsed and died at that gig, then
No one actually said anything really. It was just like, oh, get on with it. So,
there's a lot of stories like that about.
Yeah,
I mean,
just get
Steve
on with
Grantley
it.
had the same thing. He had pneumonia and he was dosed up, and he just literally. I think Woody had the same. Lots of people had the same thing.
Yeah.
They were literally shivering and kind of,
Oh, I mean, this was like, and when I was going to bed, it was how I imagine having a bayonet sticking in your lungs.
Yeah, yeah.
I've had it twice, and both times I've been on bloody tour. It's nasty.
Yeah.
I mean, I really try and take care of myself on tour. You just got to.
And if you
Sharp.
physically couldn't have got up out of bed, and it physically wasn't possible even to keep the beat, what would they have done? Just pulled it and just
They
lost
would
the
have
money?
had to pull the gig,
There wouldn't have
yeah.
been like a drum tech that could have sat in or anything like that.
They would have had to pull the whole tour probably.
Right. So that's.
I mean, it went on. This went on for about 10 days.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
So you had to do more than one gig.
Oh
in
yeah,
that, in
yeah. I
those
mean,
conditions?
basically, I had to, which really pissed me off actually, because we were down, in nice hot weather.
Yeah.
I had to stay in bed all day.
Oh,
Basically, I wasn't allowed to sweat unless I was in a gig. Right. So, because the sweating really does something to your lungs, apparently. I don't know. This is what the doctor said anyway.
Yeah.
So, I wasn't allowed to sweat. So they'd all be sunning themselves around the swimming pools and stuff, and I'd have to stay in bed.
Yeah.
And then the only time I came out was for the gig,
Yeah.
and then straight back to the hotel, bed,
So
and that was it.
you were only allowed to have a really unpleasant time during
Yes.
that 10 days or 2
Exactly.
weeks. And when you would have had a nice time,
Yeah.
that you weren't allowed to have that. You had to sort of watch everyone else from the window having a nice time.
And the point is, it didn't end there actually, because we finished that tour, flew home, and because I was so run down, I then got Bell's palsy,
Right.
which is where one side of your face drops.
Oh God, and that can stay, can't it?
It can,
Yeah.
and I got that.
And was that a result of the pneumonia?
Yes,
And
because
probably
I was
what you-
really run down.
And probably because you played drums having pneumonia for 2 weeks gave you Bell's palsy.
Yeah.
But that's
So
the
that was-
determination of drummer for you.
So that
folks.
was, and I actually did a gig with Bell's palsy as well. We did Milton
Sounds like
Hall,
a
I
bloke,
think it was.
Bell's palsy band.
Bell's palsy, yeah. Yeah, what are they? Sort of heavy metal or prog? we did a gig at Milton Hall, a big festival, their open air festival, and it was hilarious because one side of my face wasn't working, so if I was laughing, it was like that. And Biff kept turning round to me in the middle of the set, going, and of course that made me go. And this just went on all the time, But
So
eventually
you
it
look like
went.
a complete nutter on the show.
Exactly.
Yeah, Nigel, you did a rather elaborate drum fill, did you not? That went a bit disastrously wrong.
Oh,
on
I did
on one
actually.
occasion.
Yeah, thank God it wasn't at a gig. Well, during the show. But when I first joined Saxon, we were doing. I was obviously taken over from Pete Gill.
Yeah.
And there was a fill he did in Motorcycle Man, and I never used to do it on the sort of near the intro of it. And the guy said, "Well, can you do that fill because it's quite an integral part of the song, really?"
Yeah.
And I went, "Oh, okay." Then and I thought, well, I've got to outdo him.
Yeah.
And I had sort of, I don't know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 toms.
Yeah.
And Gilly used to do this fill on 2 toms, and I thought, right, well, I wonder if I can get all 10 in.
All 10 in rather than 2. With the same length
Yeah.
as the fill.
Yeah, exactly. And if I can get round, I was determined,
Yeah.
And so we started sound checking it, and I think my riser was a pretty high riser, actually, and came to this bit, and I started this bloody fill, and I went hurtling all the way around, and I got to the end, and I couldn't stop. And I kept hurtling, and I hurtled right off the back of the riser, disappeared down about 3 foot,
Yeah.
and then all my monitors came crashing down on top of me as well, and the rest of the band were just like, "Where's he gone?" And I was just in a heap.
So you just gained momentum.
I
during
did,
this
literally,
fill.
I couldn't stop.
Yeah.
I could not stop. I got to the last floor, Tom,
Yeah.
and I just couldn't stop. And I just sailed off.
So when you did the actual number during the gig, you didn't do the same thing then, presumably?
No, I cut it.
You
cut
selected
it
a few
back. I
less
cut it
toms
back
to
a
be
bit,
doing.
Yeah. I think I cut it down to 4.
So what's at the moment, I mean, these days, what do you enjoy most about playing?
Well, I mean, I've always loved drumming anyway. I mean, I've
Yeah.
been drumming since one way or another since
Yeah.
I was about 7 years old. But
Yeah.
I enjoy playing with other musicians and the interplay. And
And Saxon gigs these days. I mean, you tour a lot, don't you, all around Europe? And
yeah, yeah. That. I mean, we've just done a load of festival shows and everything. Just did VAC, and we headlined one of the stages. Had 70,000 people there. Yeah. So yeah.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah.
Which is very nice. And actually, the big joke of that was I went up on this bloody riser that was about 20 feet high, something like that.
Well, it actually went up hydraulically.
Yeah. Like the Kiss riser.
Yeah.
And bloody sparks coming underneath it. But when we got to sound check, actually, they hadn't put a bar at the back of the thing, so we sat on it, and it was a bit wobbly anyway. And I think my stool was about that far from the back, and they took me up, and I went,
hey?
No, I need a bar behind me in case I lean back.
Good God, because otherwise if you came off...
I came, I'd be dead.
Yeah. They didn't think to put a bar on the back of the riser?
No. So I went, no, get me down, I want a bar now.
It's almost as though you're sort of kind of immortal. The drummers are supposed to be immortal.
Yeah.
It kind of doesn't matter if they fall off a drum riser.
But it's all part of the show.
Part of the show. But you'd have thought. I mean, I hate heights anyway. I can't stand
them either.
But I mean, even with a bar, I'd feel a bit funny. But obviously,
it was all right. Once it went, actually, it was pretty good because it went up. That's when I did my solo up the top.
Oh right, nice one.
Which is great actually, because I find it quite off-putting if I can see little faces in the audience while I'm playing. I might just glance up and I see. Whereas I was up there, I couldn't see anyone.
So you're just almost doing it.
I was just in my own space. The funny thing was, I turned around there and I looked down. There was our bass player Nibs, and his head was about this big, looking up at me like this. I was like, Jesus,
So as it went down, he felt a sense of relief.
It was actually, yeah.
Well, I mean, isn't there one where Joey Jordison goes upside down at the top of the arena or something like that?
Yeah, I mean, he does that. I mean, Tommy Lee started all that stuff.
Did he?
Yeah, he was that
must be
riser
pretty
going
weird.
like that, and he's got this thing now where it's almost like a roller coaster circuit, and you invite someone in the audience to go up. I'd love to have a go doing that actually, because you're all strapped in anyway. Yeah. So,
have you ever had this thing where your muscle memory goes a little bit?
I haven't had a muscle memory one. I've had one. You have a thing. When you're gigging, you have a thing called automatic pilot.
Yeah.
And I've had it a couple of times. I've suddenly come out of automatic pilot. I'm in a song, I'm thinking, Christ, which bloody verse are we in?
Oh, yeah.
Is it the verse before the big drum breaks or the solo, or does it stop? And I'm trying to, latch onto something. It's like, it's just a momentary panic. Yeah. And then you suddenly go, oh.
So it's never actually got the better of you. You haven't finished the song before it's supposed to end. So, Nigel, may I ask you to say a little word about Mad, Bad and Dangerous, the Book of Drummers' Tales?
It's absolute rubbish. No, it's a good read. Go and get it. It's great.
Thank you very much. Also, folks, available on Kindle now.
Hey!
Nigel, thanks so much for coming in. It's been great fun.
Yeah, cool.
And if you had a chance to do another story in another book, would you be happy to give us a
Definitely.
couple? Cheers. Sure. It's only a few seconds of it.
Yeah,
but it gives a little intro to it and stuff.
No,
and then I get to wear these, of course. What do you reckon? What do you think that's really naff? What do you think? What do you reckon? Shall I do it just for the fun of it?
Well, I can put mine on too. So.
Yeah.
I think it'd be rude not to.
Yeah.
No, matching. You look nice.
I don't know about
that. I always wanted another reason to wear these, and so I found them in a drawer.
For years and never used them.
I found them in a drawer this morning.
It's only right
I don't know whoever would have worn them seriously, and I don't know, if they're. You can't see out of them. I mean, you can't see them. So you can't see out of them.
Okay.
Yeah, you can't see out of them at all. Well, I mean, you can see a bit, but.
Oh, they are really dark.
Yeah,
actually.
You wouldn't want to. I mean, you wouldn't want to wear them on the beach or out in the sun or anything like that. So there's really very little point in them at all, except for occasions like this.
And it was too late then. So
you're playing with blood pouring down your
face. Blood
face.
came down, and something really sharp went hurtling across one of the floor tom heads and split it.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the hell that was.
But the crowd.
But then they went nuts.
But they loved it.
Yeah, they loved it.
So it was worth all that.
For me, I'm shitting bricks, but they loved it. Yeah.
There's been quite a few themes running through this book. One of them being our drummer's a little bit mad.
Never.
Sanest members of the band.
Yes.
What's your take on that, you reckon?
I mean, drumming's probably the first thing that prehistoric man ever did.
Yeah,
There weren't guitars around, were there? So
they communicated with them.
Hitting a log.
Yeah.
And I think it's just the most natural primeval thing you can do. I think it's just inbuilt in human beings.
So it is a natural
I think
thing
it
to
is.
do. Good afternoon. Once again, we're in the Horns Venue pub in Watford. We're privileged to have Nigel Glockler from Saxon with us today.
Hello.
He's going to tell us a bit about Mad, Bad and Dangerous, the book of drummers' tales, and his involvement with that. Firstly, welcome, Nigel. Thanks for coming. There was a moment back in the 1980s, I believe, when you were with Saxon playing in Milan.
Watch any kid wants to hit something.
Yeah, and if anybody who ever goes near a drum kit can't resist wanting to hit it, even if they can't play at all, they just have to have a go. Can I sit behind it? Can I have a go?
Yeah, sure.
So if it's that natural and that instinctive, then it must be to do with sanity, not insanity, presumably.
Yeah, I think so. But you do get the odd mad one.
Yeah, I mean, there's all sorts of stories, aren't there, about various people? I mean, Mr. Moon, etc. Some of his madness was something to do with drums, though. It was a lot of that, which we look at in the book a little bit, is to do with his eccentricity as a person.
Yes,
and sometimes his extreme kindness as well, which almost to the point of madness. But what do you reckon is the worst time you've ever had to play when you were actually ill or physically incapacitated?
Yeah.
Because you had two Arctics, didn't you? One with the back line and your personal stuff,
one with the PA.
Yeah.
Yeah,
lights.
Actually, I think the PA one got there, but our personal gear didn't get there, so we had to use the support band's gear, all of it. I seem to remember someone pulling a gun on us because we wanted to pull the gig. The gun was pulled. And so we went on, and I mean, they were just going nuts, and we had a curtain in the front and stuff was coming over. I think not aimed at us, but specifically. But stuff was coming over the top, and it was coins and all sorts of flying. And it was my first ever gig in Italy, and I was scared shitless, And I actually said to Biff, I said, if one more thing bloody hits me, I'm walking off. And at that minute, a bloody full beer can came over, hit me smack in the side of the head.
And then the curtain
drew blood, and the bloody curtain opened, and we started.
And this reflects some of the bits in the book where we talk about a drummer's experiences on stage and what sometimes we might have to go through to get through it all. Tell us a bit about that. There was a bit of a build-up, wasn't there?
Yeah, we were coming through the pass from Switzerland.
Yeah.
And it had been snowing really heavily, and basically, to cut a long story short, we got to the gig in Milan, which was a sold out 9,000 seat, I think it was. We got there late. The Italian police had let the fans in early because they didn't want to have to try and contain them outside, so they'd been in there since 3:00.
Yeah, having a good time, I imagine.
Yeah, I think, but they thought they were going to riot if they didn't let them in. So I think we got there about 11:00 at night.
Yeah.
Eventually, none of our gear got there, and